There is a moment that every dog owner has experienced. You come home from a barbecue. You've eaten burgers, or ribs, or chicken. Your hands are clean. Your clothes are changed. You don't smell like food, not to you, but your dog is sniffing you differently. Not the casual sniff of greeting, something more intense, more investigative. The nose moves across your fingers, your sleeves, the edges of your mouth. The dog is cataloging something, processing something, and for just a moment, a fraction of a second, you wonder what exactly your dog thinks you've been doing. You push the thought away. It's uncomfortable. It's irrational. Your dog loves you. You love your dog. The relationship is built on trust and affection and years of shared life. But somewhere in that moment, in the sniff, in the pause, in the look your dog gives you before returning to the couch, there is a question that almost no one asks out loud. Does your dog know that you eat animals? And if it does, what does it think about that? Here is what we know about the evolutionary relationship between dogs and humans. Dogs descended from wolves approximately 20,000 to 40,000 years ago. The domestication process was not a single event, but a long, gradual co-evolution. Wolves that were less fearful of humans scavenged near human camps. Over generations, those wolves became more tolerant, then more cooperative, then something entirely new. Throughout this entire process, one fact remained constant. Humans hunted. Humans killed animals. Humans ate meat. The wolves that became dogs watched this happen. They scavenged the remains. They learned that human camps were reliable sources of food. Bones, scraps, the parts of animals that humans didn't consume. The relationship between humans and dogs was built, in part, on this shared relationship to other animals. Humans killed them. Dogs ate what was left. This is not a dark secret. This is evolutionary history. The bond between humans and dogs was forged around a shared food chain with humans at the top, dogs just below, and everything else below them. But here is the question that follows from this history. Dogs evolved alongside human hunting. They watched us kill. They ate the evidence for thousands of generations. The connection between humans and dead animals was visible, obvious, part of the daily reality of life. Modern dogs don't see this anymore. Their food arrives in bags. The meat is processed, shaped into kibble, unrecognizable as animal. The evidence of what humans do to other animals is hidden from them, but the nose remembers what the eyes never learned. A dog's nose contains approximately 300 million scent receptors. Yours contains about 6 million. The part of a dog's brain dedicated to analyzing smell is proportionally 40 times larger than yours. Your dog can smell what you ate for lunch 3 days ago. It can smell the hormones in your sweat. It can smell whether you've been near another animal, any animal, within hours of the encounter. When you eat meat, the chemical signature enters your bloodstream. It exits through your sweat, through your breath, through the oils on your skin. Your dog knows you've eaten meat, not as an abstract concept, as a specific chemical reality. Beef smells different from chicken. Pork smells different from lamb. Your dog can distinguish between them. But here is the part that should make you pause. Dogs can also smell the difference between living animals and dead ones. The stress hormones released during slaughter, the cortisol, the adrenaline, the chemical cascade of terror, leave a residue in the meat that survives cooking. Your dog's nose can detect stress hormones at concentrations measured in parts per trillion. When you eat meat, your dog smells not just the species, it smells the death and the fear that preceded it. The question is not whether your dog knows you eat animals. The question is whether your dog understands what that means. In 2016, researchers at the University of Bristol conducted a study that few people have heard about and fewer still want to discuss. They collected scent samples from a working slaughterhouse, the air near the holding pens, the processing floor, the transport trucks. They also collected control samples from farms where animals were alive and healthy. Then they exposed domestic dogs to both sets of scents, with no other information available. No sounds, no visuals, just the smell. The dogs' responses were measured through cortisol levels, heart rate, and behavioral observation. When exposed to the slaughterhouse scents, the dogs showed measurable stress responses, elevated cortisol, increased heart rate, avoidance behaviors. Some dogs whined, some dogs paced, some dogs went very, very still. The dogs were not responding to the smell of dead animals. They had smelled dead animals before. They were responding to the smell of how those particular animals died, the fear, the stress, the chemical signature of terror that permeates the air of a slaughterhouse. Your dog has never been to a slaughterhouse. It has never seen how commercial meat is produced. It has no conscious knowledge of factory farming or industrial slaughter, but its nose can read the chemical story of what happened to the animal on your plate. And that story of fear and death and human involvement is not a story the dog can consciously understand, but it is a story the dog's body responds to. Here is where we have to be precise about what we're asking. Do dogs understand that humans eat animals in the way that humans understand it? As a moral choice? As an industry? As a system of farming and slaughter and consumption? No. Almost certainly not. Dogs do not have the cognitive architecture for that kind of abstract reasoning. They do not understand supply chains. They do not understand ethical debates about meat consumption. They do not think about where their kibble comes from. But do dogs understand that humans kill and eat other animals? That is a different question, and the answer is more complicated. Dogs understand killing. They are predators. Their ancestors killed to eat. Many modern dogs still kill. Squirrels, rabbits, birds, when given the opportunity. They understand the sequence. Chase, capture, kill, consume. They understand what death is, at least in the immediate physical sense. Dogs also understand that humans are different from them. They recognize that humans control resources, that humans provide food, that humans are the source of everything the dog needs to survive. The question is whether dogs connect these two understandings, whether they recognize that the humans who feed them are the same species that kills and eats other animals. And the answer, based on what we know about canine cognition, is probably not in the way we mean it. Dogs do not think, my owner eats animals, I am an animal, therefore my owner could eat me. What they think, or rather what their bodies know, is something more immediate, something that operates below the level of conscious thought. They know the smell of death. They know the smell of fear. They know that humans sometimes carry both, and they trust those humans anyway. The questions we're asking on this channel, about what animals know, what they feel, what they understand, they don't have simple answers, and that's exactly why we're here. If you want to keep going deeper into the minds of animals, hit subscribe. New videos every week on the questions most people never think to ask, and the answers that change how you see the creatures sharing your home. Here is the thing that should sit with you long after this video ends. Your dog has every evolutionary reason to be wary of you. You are a predator. You are a member of the most successful predatory species in the history of the planet. You eat animals. You smell like their death. Your species has been killing and eating animals for hundreds of thousands of years. And yet, your dog trusts you completely. It sleeps with its belly exposed. It eats from your hand. It brings you its young. It looks at you with an expression that, in any other context, would be described as love. This is not despite your nature as a predator. It is because of something else that happened during domestication, something that overrode the ancient fear response that should have kept dogs wary of humans forever. Researchers call this the domestication syndrome. It is a suite of genetic changes that occurred as wolves became dogs, changes that made them less fearful, more trusting, more capable of forming bonds across species lines. Somewhere in the genome of every domestic dog, there is a mutation that says, this species is not a threat. This species is your pack. Trust them. The mutation is not rational. It does not weigh evidence. It does not consider the smell of death on your breath. It just says, trust. And for the most part, across millions of dogs and thousands of years, the trust has been rewarded. So the next time you come home from a barbecue and your dog sniffs your hands with that particular intensity, the next time you watch your dog sleeping peacefully at your feet, belly exposed, completely vulnerable, the next time you wonder, even for a moment, what your dog really knows about what you are, remember this. Your dog knows you eat meat. It knows you smell like death. It knows, at some level below conscious thought, that you are a predator, and that you have been doing what predators do. And it trusts you anyway. Not because it doesn't know, because knowing is not the same as understanding, and understanding is not the same as fear. Your dog does not fear you. It does not judge you. It does not lie awake at night wondering whether it's next. It just sniffs your hands, catalogs the information, and then, having completed its analysis, curls up beside you and goes to sleep. The trust is older than the knowledge, and it has never needed the knowledge to be complete.